So hello and welcome back to Cycling to Adventure. Today I like to talk about my top 10 upgrades I have made over the past years and how you can upgrade your bicycle without spending too much money. Mainly I'm talking about gravel bikes, as I believe one bike can do it all. So I'm not talking too much about road bikes, but most of the upgrades you can do actually on every bike. So let's start with the first upgrade you can do on your bike, and which is absolutely free. It's having the correct tire pressure set on your bike. Compare to your tire, to your rim, to the weight of your bike and your body weight. So there's a link in the description for tire pressure measurement I'm using from SRAM, but there are other websites available as well where you can check what should be the perfect tire pressure. The next upgrade on the bike, and which will be a very good one because your components on your bike will last much longer. Say your chain ring and your cassette in the back will last much longer with this upgrade, and this is going from oil to wax. Waxing your chain is really a game changer. I started waxing my chain a couple of years ago and actually not looking back. Yes, there are some downsides. If it is raining a lot, the wax gets washed out. So bear this in mind every time if you ride through the rain and you come or you stop riding, just wipe your chain a little bit dry, which will help to prevent rust. But I can only recommend to wax your chain. This is just freshly waxed, so I'm just breaking it in. But you will see here the advantage on a wax chain compared to an oil chain is no oil, no dirt. This is just wax, which is breaking in as I waxed the chain this morning. So these are actually two very cheap upgrades you can do on your bike. One upgrade a lot of us doing in the time of riding is buying a new group set. And let me tell you, if you're planning to buy a new bicycle, and we all been there, I love electronic group sets, and it becomes more and more popular, and more entry group sets electronically available. And if you buy one with an entry level group set, it will be very expensive when you then start upgrading, because you have to buy a brand new group set. And if you then go for medium to high-end group sets, so say I personally prefer SRAM before Shimano, so I'm a SRAM guy. But I think going from Apex or Rival to Force or Red, where Red is very expensive, and I have actually Red here on this bike. I just changed the cranks to Force because my Red crank got broken. But if you buy an entry-level bike, which costs you around 3,500, and mainly you will have Apex or GRX or maybe Rival on the bike, let me give you a tip. If you really plan to buy a new bike, speak to your bike shop and look that you get the group set on the bike, which is upgraded maybe to Force, which is very good, which then costs you maybe 500 extra. But if you decided after 1 year you want to upgrade, it will cost you 1,500, because you have to buy the complete new group set, and the old group set you almost cannot sell. That's you get maybe 100 or 200 euros for it. So smart move is, look out when you buy a new bike, spend 500 more, have straight away a very good group set there, and you save a lot of money. Another upgrade, which is not super expensive, it's tires. Tires can make a big difference on your riding comfort and on your riding speed, whatever you plan to do. So having a good tire, which costs you between 50 and 60 euros. When I go on the road, I have a GP5000 with a 32 millimeter. That's my preferred road tire. I ride them tubeless. And when I go gravel, I have the Zipp Explorer from Goodyear on the bike. This is as well an upgrade you can do, and which is not super expensive. As well, it's always good to have two wheel sets, so you can have one for the road when you like road tires and one for gravel and you like to ride gravel tires. I have two wheel sets as well because I like tubeless, so changing quickly from road to gravel tires is not possible. If you have only one, then I recommend maybe you using TPU tubes, so you can easily change out the tires on your bike. Takes you maybe 10 minutes and you change the tires when you prefer not to go on tubeless and only have one wheel set. Having two wheel set is really an advantage, but of course it's also cost expensive. Next upgrade which I did on my bike, and which is another game changer for me, is the ShockStop stem from Redshift. And the comfort you get out of this shock stem, it's quite amazing, I have to say. My wife has the same and she's very happy as well. But for me, one of the best upgrades on a gravel bike is really a ShockStop stem. I had before an S-Works Diverge where you have a future shock inside, which is good, but the shock stem from Redshift beats this by a lot. So next upgrade on the bike is, and this is very individual, is saddle. And there we go. Saddle, it's very individual for, so I having an Infineon E1 from an American company sitting in California, and riding this now almost 5 years, and I have to say best saddle I ever have sit on. There's a video, I put the link down in the description where I talk about saddles, but for me one of the best saddles. I have tried to go back to a different saddle often, but this one I like to ride very long distances. We're talking of a couple of 100 kilometers, up to 400 or 500 kilometers in one day. So this is my comfort. The next is handlebars. Handlebars on gravel bike getting wider and wider, but wide not almost means comfort. So if you get wider, your arms get wider out, that means your reach gets longer. That means you are less aerodynamic. It can be less comfortable when you just ride the bike. It might be more stable when you do some very technical terrain. You have more control on the bike when the handlebar is wider. But I am here on a 51 Redshift kitchen sink handlebar where you have a loop in the front. I put you a link in the description down there, and you can have a little bag here, little bag there where you can have some stuff inside. Very useful with your Garmin or Wahoo mount. So the kitchen sink handlebar, it's my one to go. Good upgrade, especially not too wide. As well, the comfort grips from Redshift, drop, and below the bar tape is another grip. So as I say, I like to do ultra distance rides. That's why I use aero bars, which is as well a good upgrade if you like to ride long distances. It's not for speed, it's for comfort. And a little tip, if you have Redshift handlebars or Redshift aero bars, I inverted left to right and right to left. So the outer edge, which is normally sitting here, but when I grab on the top, I have no space. So I inverted them, put the right one on the left side, and now I still can ride here. Instead having this edge over here, then I would have no more space. So this, it's a little tip. If you have Redshift aero bars, normally it would look like this, and then this one is in your way. The metal will be here, and this is, you cannot grab anymore. So this is my little tip, Redshift bars. If you wonder what is this here, this is actually to fit my selfie stick, so I can film myself while riding the bike. So this for me are the major upgrades. So more upgrades on the bike is crank length. Most of the bikes coming with 175 crank length. I am on 165 now, and what is the advantage? Your RPM will be a little bit higher, so you can spin a little bit faster with less fatigue. So these are the major upgrades. So go for some luxury upgrades. Luxury upgrade for me is having a Garmin computer on your bike. You can use your phone for navigation as well with a holder, but I prefer to have a Garmin. And if you go for the high-end models, the 1040, the 1050, this one is the 1040 Solar. And in combination then with another very useful toy, it's the Garmin Varia light and radar. So you don't need a radar when you ride in the city. In the city you have permanent cars behind you, so it not makes much sense. But again, as I say, I like long distance rides. I ride all night long. I'm riding on maybe roads which are not so busy. So whenever something comes from behind, which is faster than me, the radar will pick it up, the light will start flashing, and my Garmin will show me that something is coming from behind on the front unit. And I can see on the Garmin, you can see if there's coming 1, 2 or 3 vehicles, cars, trucks, motorbikes, even bicycles. Even if somebody walking from behind, it will be picked up. So luxury upgrade, I would call it, but I not would miss it when I go on long rides, and not have permanently check what is going on behind me, and get an alarm in the front, so I know something is going on. Bottles, yes, you can have regular bottle cages, but again, a very good upgrade is to having fitlock, because on fitlock you can easily take the bottle off and just go there and clip it back on. So now you can see something comes from behind, the Garmin recognizes it, the light switches on, the alarm on the Garmin gets on, the vehicle have passed, the light gets off. This is around the range of 150 meters when the Garmin detects something from behind. Of course, now the motorbike was on the other side and the bush is in the way, so of course it detected it a little bit later, but that's not what you have on the road. So please let me know what you think about. If you have any ideas or any good tips of upgrades for myself, let me know. Otherwise, please let me there a like, comments or ideas or anything you like to know about the bike, then please feel free and write it down in the comments. And then now I have one more upgrade actually, one more upgrade. I started when I started cycling with aluminium bike. I had an aluminium mountain bike. Figured then out I'm not really into mountain biking, and riding a mountain bike on the road doesn't really does it for me. So my next bike I bought was a Specialized. It was a carbon, it was the Diverge. I have ridden 100,000 kilometers on my Diverge. Fantastic bike with the Future Shock, but my dream was always a titanium bike. So I got this bike this year, or I got the frame this year, and took all my parts from my Specialized and built this titanium bike for myself. And I have to say, I never want to go back to carbon. The comfort I'm getting out of the bike, and comfort is for me king, because comfort is speed, not in top speed, but in ultra distance. You have to be capable to ride your bike for hours and hours and hours, and then you have comfort on the bike. And when you have comfort on the bike, you make more kilometers than everybody else who is uncomfortable, and after 50 kilometers everything starts to hurt, your ass starts to hurt and your neck starts to hurt, and the vibration traveling down to your neck and your shoulder. So the comfort level on a titanium bike is just fantastic. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thumbs up, and please leave me a like and a comment. Thank you.